Deception is a creative, factual novel based on the life of a woman with no inclination her husband was a predator, nor that he was using their home as a safe harbor for his diabolical actions, not only with his own daughter, but other little girls in the family, as well as extended family. For many, you will experience the horrific details of pain, suffering, and humiliation experienced among little girls after losing their childhood innocence by being dragged into the adult world of sex and violence. It will also help you understand the impact of sexual abuse on family and extended family when the predator is unmasked, putting an end to using children for his self-gratification. For the sake of the children who lived in fear every waking moment of the day and sleepless night, the locations, names, and identities have been changed. However, the incidents are factual. You will see and understand how the predator's action caused a once loving and united family burn to the ground in ashes, only to rise up, determined to understand the dynamics of how this could have happened without anyone's knowledge, vowing never to see a repetition of this in the future. Despite security on his parents' estate, 24 hours a day, including adult supervision through family members and trusted staff, it did not prevent the predator from setting up safe harbor for his deadly gains. The next step was to seek out little girls in his family and extended family for his self-gratification. Unknown to his family and those who associated with the predator, he possessed two personalities. One trusted by family and friends with the care of their children in their absence, and the other, a demonic predator, feared by his victims. The predator used physical, emotional, and psychological threats to control his victims' denial of his demands and prevent them from revealing his name and games, used to subject victims to a life of fear and submission. Once the predator's name was revealed to authorities, he was picked up for questioning and released pending further investigation, including removal from his home with 2-hour weekly supervised visitation. When his victims found out, their fear surfaced of retaliation, while the adults felt betrayed by a member of their family. In the end, the predator was in denial of all the charges against him, while the family kept walking around blaming themselves for not knowing. In order to fully understand the complexity of child sexual abuse, you need to embark on a dark journey down a long, treacherous road fueled with faith, hope, and love, while being guided by the hands of God. Even though my daughter and I started our journey over 30 years ago, one question will haunt me to my dying day. Why my daughter? And why didn't I know? Life is a series of journeys, beginning from the moment of conception as an embryo, snuggled safely inside a dark enclosure with food, protection, and space to move around. Feeling love, care, and concern for our well-being helps us to self-soothe during the many lonesome days and nights of darkness. When fully developed, it is time for our first journey, venturing out of the darkness surrounding us to the bright lights encircling us, with many voices speaking at the same time. Our first breath is an introduction to happiness shared by everyone who witnesses our birth, followed by finding ourselves lying in our mother's arms. Upon arrival at our new home, we are greeted by family members and extended family who will fuel our future journeys with love and support. When venturing out on a good journey, the people, places, and things we meet and see along the way are stored in a part of our memory that enables us to look back with pleasure and enjoyment. In contrast, when we find ourselves venturing out on a bad journey, we block out people, places, and things we meet along the way as a means of protecting ourselves from the pain and suffering we experience while spiraling out of control down a dark, lonely road, unable to put on the brakes. With the blessing of children comes the responsibility to provide for their well-being while protecting them from evil forces in society. To accomplish this, take notice to the way our children interact when in the company of family, friends, and caregivers. The majority of those mentioned above are not out to harm children. However, there are those in the shadows who will use their close relationship or trusted friendship to provide a safe harbor for their own self-gratification. After establishing a safe location, the predator searches out victims to groom from ages infancy through teen years, and in some instances into their adult lives. With the start of the sexual abuse, the victims are left with their minds and bodies scarred from the pain and humiliation experienced at the hands of their predator. These continued forced encounters result in the victims living in a hellish world 24 hours a day, accompanied by constant fear of their predator's return. Victims of sexual abuse store their emotional baggage in their mind until something jars their memory. Similar to a dam holding back raging waters of destruction, once the dam springs a leak, the memories trickle through until it causes the dam to break apart, releasing memories stored in the victim's mind in the form of flashbacks. Flashbacks are sudden and disturbing vivid memories of traumatic events that are as painful as when they first took place. After a victim reveals the name of their predator, sexual violations, and depth of their pain suffered giving in to the predator's demands, the flashbacks will increase in frequency, length, and pain, requiring the victim to begin counseling in order to dump the remaining luggage overboard. Many questions and doubts will be discussed back and forth among family members, extended family, and daily caregivers. In the end, each will form an opinion of the validation of the accusations while asking themselves the same question over and over. How could something like this happen to our family or extended family without my knowledge, with no answer to be found? The views and conclusions expressed in Deception are taken from a personal journey of a mother who recorded the efforts of sexual abuse on her daughter from infancy through 8 years of age, when she forcibly stopped her father from sexually abusing her. For the next 6 years, the memory of the sexual abuse remained sealed behind a solid brick wall, until one day, while watching television, her daughter heard Oprah Winfrey speak to all sexually abused children, encouraging anyone who experienced sexual abuse to find the strength and courage to stop blocking the memory of sexual abuse out of their minds in order for the healing process to begin. Quote, "If you have been sexually abused by anyone, tell your parents. If you have been sexually abused by your father, tell your mother. If you have been sexually abused by your mother, tell your father. If you don't feel safe telling your mother or father, reach out for someone's hand that you trust and bring them into your world. Then, and only then, will you find the peace you are looking for. I know how much pain and suffering you have lived with, since I too have been there." Unquote. Through the years, many people condemned Oprah Winfrey for the subject matter discussed being too controversial for daytime television, with the possibility of children listening. In contrast to her critics, Oprah's words of wisdom during that particular segment changed the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of sexually abused children in her listening audience, giving them the strength and courage to stop blocking the sexual abuse in their mind and seek the help they needed to begin their healing process. I know this for a fact, since my daughter and 3 of her cousins followed Oprah's advice and unblocked the memories of sexual abuse from a member of our family. Reading Deception, you will experience many feelings, tears of sadness followed by tears of joy, despair followed by hope, failure followed by accomplishments, guilt followed by innocence, and hatred followed by love. Most of all, you will witness a miracle of a life that was able to hold her mother's hand lovingly while pulling her out of the darkness of night into the light of day.